Great. So, between the time that I made that intro to now, it's been like a week. And, well, for one, I can't remember what I said in it. Which, I mean, like, could have happened within 5 minutes of making the video. But also, like, part of the reason why it took me so long to sit down here and do these readings is because I don't know if it's like the Taurus sun in me, if it's my Virgo moon, blah, 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 I don't know. But it's like, I felt like I wanted to have something more prepared, and I get stuck and hung up on these, like, wanting something to be perfect, which it never is. And it's just almost like an excuse, right? So I don't know. Why am I talking about this? I don't know. Maybe you needed to hear it too, that if you are delaying doing something, other light. If you're delaying doing something, if you're waiting for the perfect time for something, there's no such thing. There just isn't. And, like, we start kind of like amping up on the anxiety around it too, right? Because then I started feeling anxious, like, oh my gosh, like looking at the date, oh my gosh, like when was the last time I put out videos, blah, 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 and then for me, I just kind of shut down, which isn't good. That's not helpful for anybody. It doesn't make the anxiety go away. And that anxiety comes from knowing that I wanted to sit down here and I wanted to put out a message to you guys. I wanted to, get some readings out there again. And the fact that I wasn't doing it was what was causing the anxiety. And the reason why I wasn't doing it is because I wanted to have something else that either added value to the reading or whatever, which is really kind of interesting because Venus just went retrograde right on Sunday. And that's the second house for me, which is about worthiness, value, right? And here I am going on and on about wanting something, whatever it is, to be perfect. And also the main message behind that being showing up exactly where you are and with exactly whatever tools that you have right now to do the thing. So with that being said, I'm going to turn this into the intro video. So you won't even see the one that I was talking about that I just did a week ago because that has nothing now. I realized that last month I didn't get around to doing human design profile readings, and I do want to do those still. I'm like teetering between, wanting to make those the priority and the zodiac signs secondary, or, kind of keep, because there's tons of videos from YouTube creators about zodiac signs. I haven't seen a single one about human design profiles or really anything else. And I think it's cool because it's just a different avenue to receive a message, like any zodiac sign could be a 1-3 profile or a 2-5 profile or whatever, right? So I think I just answered my own question, and I think I'm going to, for the time being, I'm going to lead with the human design profile readings. And if I get around to doing zodiac readings in a month, then great. If not, it is what it is for the time being. I'm a manifesting generator, 5-1, emotional authority, and true to manifesting generator form. I have a million things going on, which is kind of why, like, my time is all of a sudden limited, and I am struggling to get all 24 videos out in a month. So that's okay because, it's energy, right? And for right now, for whatever reason, I have a limited availability of time, but also energy. I'm sacral, but that doesn't mean that I just, I I have endless amount of energy. So, we still need to be taking care of our sacral and giving it rest. But like I said, I have a ton of stuff going on. And at some point, the energy is going to shift. And at some point, I will be able to put 24 videos out again. And, it really goes into trust. That's a big thing with human design, too. The major thing is deconditioning the ways that we were structured to live our lives. And most of that is not listening to our own inner wisdom and guidance. And, that's where the strategy and authority comes from. So without any further delay, because I could keep going on, and I probably will in the videos. But again, I'm going to lead with the human design profile readings. I am not going to worry about, I like to have some sort of content that goes over each profile, just to give you, like a different perspective from somebody else and their understanding of what the profile says. I have some stuff buried in my phone, but I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna go search for it this time. So going forward, I'll the next time we do these readings, I'll have some sort of content. But for now, we're just going to, treat it in some kind of way. Okay, great. So if you're here, you may be a 5-1 profile. If you're not, welcome. I mean, everybody's welcome. But that 5th line is the heretic or heretic. I don't know if I just like saying heretic better. I don't know if there's a difference. I also like the way that heretic owl sounds versus heretic owl. So there's that. So the 5th line is the heretic. The 1st line is the investigator. And the 5th line, the big thing with the 5th line is that it comes with the projection field. Whether people are projecting like a savior complex onto you, like some people call the 5th line the general or the hero, or I just said the savior, like people project onto you that you can basically save the day. And that's what they expect too. So, you have that projection. If you live up to it, great. If you don't, then you're burned at the stake, basically, is the terminology that Ra-Uru Hu uses, who is also a 5-1. And it's interesting, like as you kind of explore more into human design, and if you start getting into like groups or discussion forums or whatever about Ra, like it's interesting, especially having this profile, it's interesting to observe somebody else, because there are people that his word is gold and his teachings are gold, and if you don't follow his way of interpretation or whatever the case may be, then you're wrong. Right? And then there's other people that are like, he was a fraud, or he is trying to make money. Like, how could this vision or like voice happen? It's like all, and then anywhere in between that. So it is interesting to observe that he was a manifester, 5-1 profile. So anyway, 5th line comes with the projection. You may have felt throughout your life that people don't quite see you clearly or at all. You might have felt like misunderstood. You may have, gone through periods of your life where you have been burned at the stake and have no effing clue how. That's happened to me 3 times in my life now, where a whole friend group fell off. And it's like, having to, it really is like a phoenix is how it feels, actually, because it really is like, that burning at the stake, turning into ashes, and then like what's the word? Like reinventing, rebirthing, rebuilding, all of the things, right? So, and all that is, right? It's other people's projections. There is really nothing that you can do about it. Believe me, I have tried. The only thing that you can do about it is to understand that as long as you are acting in integrity and being authentic to yourself, the only thing that you can do is recognize that for whatever reason, the energy of that relationship or situation had come to an end. And it is time for you to move on and whoever else is involved. So I think that's also, and I feel like I say this a lot in these 5-1 readings, but I feel like that's kind of the gift that comes with the 5-1, because I'm just over here blabbering and I didn't realize that my camera had stopped recording. I have no clue what I was even talking about, and I'm just going to take that as a sign that whatever it was that I was talking about just did not need to make the cut. Like, maybe next time it'll come back to me. But I think what I was saying was that there is this gift that comes with the 5-1 about knowing ourselves so deeply that nobody can tell us who we are, right? Like, because people will, and they have. Like, I had a boyfriend one time that, and this was well before I knew anything about human design, but we got in an argument. Well, he got in an argument with me. I was just like, what the hell? But we were on vacation. There was, 2 friends with us, and he's like yelling at me and telling me, you're this, you're that, you're this. And I looked at my friend, and I said, am I a mirror? Because all of the things that he's saying I am are exactly what he is, and the behaviors that he was exhibiting, right? And I'm just standing there like, what the hell is going on here? Right? And my friend's like, like, what the hell? So we broke up after that trip. It was a long time coming anyway. I think he might be a 5-1 or a 3-5. I think he actually might be a 3-5. I think I finally got his date of birth, and then he blocked me again. But not date of birth, his birth time. But anyway, I want to say he's a 3-5, which is interesting. Because, too, like, some of the biggest projections have come from other 5th lines, specifically other 5-1s, but, other 5th lines nonetheless. But anyway, my point, though, is that there is the opportunity to know yourself so deeply that when somebody is saying you are this, you are that, you know that you are not those things. So those projections won't affect you, right? But that also comes with a lot of, working through traumas, working through conditioning, working, a lot of inner child work, a lot of like peeling back those layers, like, what are the stories that you attach to experiences and feelings that created your ego, right? Like, so it's a lot of that, but also you should do that, because that way, like, projections won't affect you. Like, for me, I can't even tell you, besides that one example, because like I said, I was like, am I a mirror? I can't tell you exactly what other projections have been put on me, but the devastating part to me was the end of that relationship or friendship, mainly friendships that were devastating. Excuse me, I wasn't devastated when me and that guy broke up. But anyway, what else is there something else I wanted to say about that? There's also, like, the recognizing there's this delicate dance that happens where it's recognizing that you have the energy, the knowledge with that first line. When people do project, like a hero or general, complex onto you that, hey, you can step in and save the day for us. But it's recognizing that, I have the expertise in this subject, so I can step in and I can take you to this point. But after that, I gotta go. Like, that's as far as it goes for me. And then, the next person that has the expertise or the knowledge or whatever steps in. And sometimes, getting burned at the stake is because we stayed well past where we knew we had the energy to do, right? That's also where, like, your strategy and authority comes into play, and honoring and recognizing that. So, it's recognizing, like, when it's right for you to step in, but also when it's correct for you to step out. Because, we don't have to take things to conclusion all of the time, whether that is a relationship or some sort of business partnership or a job or, whatever the case may be. And then, if we do kind of stay past our time, that's where getting burned at the stake can happen a bit more. The words, yeah. So we have grounding, go deep, explore your roots, right? That's what we were kind of talking about. I also want to be this person that's sitting by this river reading a book. Like, take me there. I was kind of saying in the intro, right? Like how there was a time where I had an abundance of time, could put out 24 videos in a month, right? And now I don't. And this last Friday, the weather was so perfect outside. It was like 70 degrees with a breeze. Oh my gosh, that is like my heaven. And then after that, it was going to be like in the 90s and just dry and hot and bleh. Like, I hate being hot. But so I sat outside and I read the third Bridgerton book. The whole book. I can't even tell. I'm not a reader. I'm not, I've never been a big reader. I'm very slow. I'm a very slow reader. I think these books are just like a fast read, but I literally read the whole book in a day. And it was so nice. It was so nice to just give my mind a break and like indulge a little bit and relax. And, I found that a lot of time I was just like sitting there and just like looking at the sky and appreciating that little bit of a breeze that was coming through even. And, like just kind of, that's what the feeling that I'm getting from this card. Also too, like even just being comfortable, because, if you do dig deeper into yourself, which also tends to include your lineage, right? Like it does take a lot of energy to do that. We have the 8 of Cups. We have the Wheel of Fortune. We have the 6 of Wands. We have the 2 of Cups. We have the 2 of Wands. And this came out in the reverse. The 3 of Swords in the reverse. We have the Knight of Wands, 3 of Pentacles, 6 of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles. It's interesting that this almost like ties into what I was saying a little bit before about even this card, go deep, explore your roots, right? Like what makes you you? Like how did you come to have the personality that you do, right? Like where do you make your decisions from? What impacts your decisions? Even like exploring the undefined or open centers that you have in your chart and how the not self theme shows up in those centers for you. You know, like this is big, like deconditioning energy going on here, which is basically just another word for healing. And, you know, like letting go of, you know, societal things and family expectations, you know, like I also, you know, like 5/1s tend to be very, to me anyway, like non-traditional. And it even takes like some deconditioning the traditional aspects, right? Like the traditional relationship, traditional types of jobs, you know, that we were just kind of force fed to believe is like the only way. So we start with the 8 of Cups, which is walking away from something. This is recognizing that, you know, what you needed from a situation you got, or that it doesn't have what you need. It's not going to give you what you need. There's these 8 cups that are turned over here. It's kind of like they're walking towards the sunrise. To me is how that looks. It could be a sunset, of course, but it looks like to me to be a sunrise. It's kind of like choosing better for yourself, because what comes after 8, 9, and the 9 of Cups is wish fulfillment. So it's moving towards what you know will bring you purpose, fulfillment, make your dreams, you know, kind of come true. And it's interesting that it's paired with the 2 of Cups, and the 2 of Cups talks about partnership. It's shared values. This is generally a relationship card, like a romantic relationship card. It doesn't have to be, you know, like I don't tend to do relationship readings, because for me, I feel like it all starts within us. So you have to focus on yourself first and figure out even your relationship to love. How do you receive love? How do you give it? Right? Like, how do you want to receive? How do you want to express love? How do you give it to yourself? How do you express self-love, self-care? So I don't really care about you know, like the other person, unless you're both here individually figuring out your own shit so that you can go into a relationship and understand your baggage, so that you're not projecting your baggage onto somebody else. And of course, like my thing about that comes from being in relationships where baggage was projected onto me. And if you don't know that's what you're doing, then it's not going to work, because I'm not going to be a punching bag, right? So 2 of Cups, you know, we start with the Ace of Cups, which is generally overflowing, right? Like we recognize that we have enough for ourselves so that we have enough to give to somebody else. And both people come into this partnership with their Ace of Cups. So there's this reciprocal thing going on, you know, like you are getting back as much as you are putting into the relationship. There's like equal, you know, give and take happening with the 2 of Cups. So this pairing here, this could be needing to explore relationships, especially with this go deep, explore your roots card. You know, it doesn't even have to be the relationships that you've been in. It could be the relationships that have affected you. Maybe it was your parents, maybe it was your grandparents, your guardian, your, you know, whoever was the authority figures in your life, or even whoever have given you the example of relationships, because that's usually our first experience seeing that is with, you know, whoever are our guardians. Did they have a healthy relationship? Were they able to be in a healthy relationship? right? So with these two cards being together, the Eight of Cups is saying that this Two of Cups is no longer, it's not working. Also, especially with the Wheel of Fortune here, and there's all the zodiac signs on this wheel. Venus just went into retrograde a couple days ago in Leo. So you might just want to see where Leo is in your natal chart. Venus is a planet of love and beauty and affection and all of those, things that we bring into a partnership, whether it is romantic or platonic or business. So, see what house Leo is for you. And, just kind of read about the properties of that house. Like for me, it's the second house. So that's about, my self-worth, my value. What do I value in things, in people? But, how do I value myself? How do I market, myself? So you might want to just take a look at where Leo falls for you. This is a card of Jupiter, so it's Sagittarius. There doesn't have to be a Sagittarius around, but there can be. And I always see the Wheel of Fortune as being a good thing. I don't care where it shows up. And it really is just like, the dial turns. Like I was saying before, there was a time in my life where I had an abundance of time and now I don't. And it's not that I don't have abundance of time. It's just that, that energy is being focused in a different direction. It needs to be focused wherever it's being focused right now. And before, it was being focused wherever it needed to be focused at that time until the wheel changed. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that, there are these cycles. Things change. Nothing is permanent. Nothing stays the same forever, right? So something is definitely changing here. I also find it interesting how we have this dragon or whatever this is at the top. I think this is a dragon. Like maybe it's just a little baby dragon at the top here. And look at this one. We have, it's a little bit larger. They have the world they're holding the world in their tail there. So it's kind of like there's two different ways that this could go. Either there's some relationship that is holding you back here, and the Eight of Cups is saying that, again, right, because we're walking towards the Nine of Cups, which is wish fulfillment. And even, like the Wheel of Fortune, since it's the card that's right next to the Eight of Cups. But there's something here that it could potentially be holding you back. And maybe it is just, it could be this residual fear of how things went in the past, because with the fifth line comes this level of paranoia. Because it's like, oh God, I know how those went before, and I just don't have the energy to be projected on. And you just get kind of like skeptical of people. And again, a little paranoid. I can attest to that. But, especially when it comes to working with other people, maybe it is a relationship. Like if you've been single for a while, and if you want to explore being in a relationship, you don't have to. I'll be single for life, happily. So don't think that I would, try to like push a relationship onto you. But if it's something that you have been, maybe I kind of want to give it another try, just kind of see how it goes, then there is something, especially with this go deep, explore your roots, there's something available for you to heal. Because, the Two of Wands is about planning for the future. We can see them, looking out over the horizon. This is even, maybe take a look at what is in your seventh house. What sign is in your seventh house? Because the seventh house is about relationships, like romantic, partnerships. it's also the house, the direct opposite of your ascendant. So in a perfect world, that is going to help you. It doesn't mean that you have to find somebody who is that sign. Like I'm a Cancer rising, so Capricorn would be the opposite of that. That doesn't mean that I would be most compatible with a Capricorn. It just means that for me, like the things that I value in a relationship are stability and boundaries, and I do very much. So, you might even just want to take a look at your 7th house and, see what sign is there, and even just, kind of do like a little Google search about the properties that sign has, right? But the Two of Wands are looking out over the horizon, which is also why I mentioned that, because our ascendant sign is the sign that was ascending on the horizon, like rising at the time of our birth. And this person is like looking over the horizon. So that could be a thing. But this is about planning for the future. We start with the Ace of Wands. I think it's cool that we have two twos out here. But we start with the Ace of Wands, which is, that spark, it's creativity, it's passion, it's fire, right? And then we move on to the Two of Wands. Okay, great. Now what am I going to do with this? Like, what actions can I take to try this thing, to, build on the creativity, to express, my creativity and passion, because wands are about the actions that we take, but also the motivation behind those actions. So this is a lot of plotting and planning. What possibilities are available to me? And I love that we have the World there, because it's kind of like, the sky is the limit. Truly, right? And then we have the Six of Wands, which is victory, success. It comes after the Five of Wands, and the Five of Wands is about conflict, training, conditioning. And, it's setting, the Five of Wands is there to set us up for success. And this is also even very Leo-y, just with the lion here. And also, it's fire. So, the Six of Wands is a Leo card, so there's that. So again, maybe even check out where Leo is in your chart. But there is a level of success and victory that's happening here. And this doesn't have to be like this big, we don't have like the tower or anything out here. This doesn't have to be like this big thing. It can just be that, understanding, recognizing that, the partnership is not partnering. And it's kind of like, once you kind of change the energy, then we have this Wheel of Fortune, things start moving forward. The energy is available to start planning for the future here, right? Like I said, we have this dragon that kind of turns into this larger dragon here. Victory after that. And then we have the Three of Swords in reverse. So the Three of Swords upright talks about heartbreak. We can see these three swords sticking into this heart. Here it's rejection, disappointment. This is very like not self theme, right? Like frustration for generators and manifesting generators, anger for manifestors, bitterness for projectors, disappointment with reflectors, right? Like this is kind of the not self in the upright. But it's swords, so it has to do with our minds, thoughts, truth, honesty. I see swords as being the card of ego, because that's generally where we hear our ego is in our minds. And our ego is created by the stories that we attach to experiences and feelings that we have, right? So it's not necessarily like the physical heartbreak, but it's like, how do you What is a story that you are attaching to your frustration, to your anger, to your bitterness, to your disappointment? But with it in the reverse, it's almost like there's this healing thing that happens here. Because in the reverse, it's the opposite of, right? Like, you're not going to be rejected. You're not going to be kind of in that not self theme. And especially with it paired with the Six of Wands, to me, this feels like a victory. There is something that, if there is some level of paranoia about that is coming about because of a prior projection or burning at the stake or whatever, it's like that's not going to happen in whatever the situation is here. But also you have to recognize, like, where is that coming from? You have to find that root, right? And then we have the Knight of Wands. This Knight of Wands feels like somebody just like popping in out of nowhere, and it like kind of gets the ball rolling. This is also a card of Leo, which is interesting. There's a couple different Leo things that have like presented themselves, but the Knight of Wands is adventurous and energetic and fun, right? But it's almost kind of like a match. Like you strike the match, it lights up, but it only lasts for so long, right? That's kind of the Knight. But it's also like, it could just be, it's enough of a spark, it's enough of a thing to get you going. It's like exactly what you need to get the ball rolling, is how this Knight is showing up to me. I mean, it could be a person, of course. And it's like, just the right thing, right time, right communication. And then we have the Three of Pentacles, which is collaborating with others, working with others, like, working towards the same goal. So you could be collaborating with other people for business or whatever the case may be. It could be clients, it could be a business partner. Whatever it is, though, it's like everybody has their roles. Like they know what they're doing, but everybody like has the same goal. So whatever everybody is doing, it's all working towards the same solution. And then we have the Six of Pentacles, which again is even a help from others. So we have this collaboration thing happening here. And maybe that's what this Knight of Wands is. Maybe it's, somebody who can help you get to that next step. And maybe they're not going to want that much in return, because the Six of Pentacles is like charity. There's no strings attached. With the Six of Pentacles, we can see these birds are helping this person. They're getting the grapes that are up here and putting them into the little basket. So, it's this Knight of Wands could be somebody who maybe they won't even be around that long, but whatever they are doing, though, they're helping you get to the next step. And like I said, there's not going to be any strings attached. And then there's the Queen of Pentacles, abundance. I don't know if you're going to be able to see, but there's like these little wisps or like fairies that are in the branches here. So it always like gives me this feeling of protection with the pentacles like that. Even the crystals, just protection on top of protection. Pentacles having to do with our money, how we get it, how we save it, how we spend it. It's our physical time, it's our physical body. So this is some leveling up. Also, the queens are when we recognize the energy of the suit ourselves. So this is individual success. This is recognizing your worth. This is also charging what you're worth. We have the Nine of Wands, maybe feeling a bit burnt out. This is, like that wounded warrior thing of putting a lot of work in and feeling a bit burnt out, feeling it, right? But this is also like, allow yourself to take a break, but don't give up. Like you're like almost there, right? And maybe you are going to have to put a little bit of extra energy into it, because this doesn't feel like a bad thing. I also just kind of get this feeling of like being busy and being sure that you are taking care of yourself, because this person is sitting down, prioritizing rest. Even sacral beings, right? Like I'm a manifesting generator. That doesn't mean that I just have this endless amount of sacral energy, right? Like, no. Your girl's also a Taurus sun. Like, I need my sleep, okay? I need to sit outside and read a book for a day when the weather is perfect, right? Like, so allow yourself time to rest. We have the Knight of Pentacles moving a little bit slowly, but also, you know, like this, it is progressing. There's Capricorn, I think I mentioned before, the Devil, Hermit. And the Devil is like, you know, recognizing those things that are holding us back. What are the things that are controlling us? And I was mentioning that in the beginning. Where do we make our decisions from? Like what created our personality, right? That's the Devil. Like it could be a bit illusion, right? The Hermit. This is very much go deep, explore your roots. So it almost just kind of feels like confirmation of that. And I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. I will talk to you soon. Bye.